I see your face, face in the water. You trying to make me think, wait, girl, sit down.
Hi, my name's Chris Bubenza and I'm 36 years old. I'm a music producer at Diffusion Lab and also a creative director. I'm originally from South Africa. I have a German and French background, so I grew up in South Africa.
I see your face.
How I first started getting into music was through playing with computers. That was my main thing. And then we had a friend that kind of introduced me into working with music, with sequences, cakewalk particularly. And yeah, as soon as I started playing with that, then I realized that how I had such a huge palette of sound to work with, and that was it. The average day in a life for me would be getting up in the morning. I normally try meditate if I can each day, do a bit of yoga if I can as well, and then come to the studio. I'm normally in here about 10 o'clock and then leave here at about 8 o'clock.
Give me you, baby. Run a mile because of you, baby.
I would say the style that I specialize in the most would be electronic type of music. That's always been my biggest interest. I come from a background of specifically drum and bass kind of music. That was my first love of electronic music, and kind of more experimental electronic stuff. So like Apex Twin and quite heavy drum and bass music. But now it's more pop influenced, but still with a very deep kind of electronic sound to it. That's the main influence.
Life is good, don't let it cloud your mind. Freedom calls for you to carry on, just living the good life.
I've been working on music for about 20 years now, and the style would have come from more of a hip-hop kind of style of sampling. So taking other people's music or audio and resampling that, chopping it up, and then once I had gotten to a point where I didn't want to take other people's arrangements anymore, I had to start learning how to capture new arrangements and making my own versions of that, and then also getting more into sound design, like through synthesis and using different types of instruments to create that. So yeah, it's evolved from a more cut and paste kind of background into something that's more, I suppose, more technical in terms of wanting to generate the sound myself. My favorite subject would be working with the mind. That's my absolute favorite. So figuring out how the mind works and how people respond to different things, and why that happens. So, and then that's connected to everything, you know, whether it's music or art or how we perceive the world. The workflow varies depending on which artist you work with. Some artists come in with maybe a basic arrangement, a chord progression or a melody idea, and then we'll take it from there. Or if it's some artists would have no idea and there's free reign to kind of start from the beginning and start creating stuff. But generally it's about capturing the emotion of what's happening. So a lot of times it would be about talking to the artist for a bit before you start the project. It's all about kind of capturing the feeling of what the song is about or what the artist is trying to say. So that's the kind of starting point. And then once we have the foundation of what the song's about, then we kind of start collecting different types of sounds that have that feeling or emotion to it. And then yeah, it's normally, once we have the progression and the melody in place, then I kind of get a bit more technical into it and start programming drums or finding the right kind of elements that would create the feeling of the song. My highlight was being able to quit my day job and start doing this job full time. That was like the true, like that moment for me was like, okay, I can wake up every day and I wake up with a smile on my face and I get to do exactly what I want. And it's hard, but it's the most rewarding and fulfilling thing you can do. What I'd like to try and achieve through the music is to be like a conduit for other musicians, you know. So it's not so much about what I do. I just want to be able to translate what the artist is trying to do and give that, you know, to be the bridge between the listener and the artist. So that's the most important thing for me. Setup that we have is very basic. It just kind of consists of a computer, some studio monitors, which is Adams, the P11s, which are pretty much one of the most important part, so you can actually hear what you're doing. MIDI controller, audio interface, microphone, and the rest is just down to it's all software based mainly. So there's not much hardware in the studio, although we'd like to have that in the future, but it's not really necessary for creating music. It's just down to a good set of ears and a creative mind. Yeah. Equipment that I would like to use in the future is anything from Dave Smith, maybe a Prophet would be really nice. Microphone wise, some nice Neumann mics, maybe a U87, a nice preamp. I'd love to have all the UAD equipment, that'd be really nice. I'd say that one of the most important things is that it's not about the equipment, it's about the person behind the equipment, and just keep it simple. Some of the best songs are made in really basic environments, and just it's just about the person behind the machines. Besides the equipment and the studio monitors, the software that I mainly kind of focus on is using Ableton, and the Ableton Push 2, which is a controller for Ableton. In terms of creativity, it's probably the most interesting sequencer or DAW that I've used. It allows you to do so much more with audio and stretching. For recording audio, it's not great, unfortunately. For tracking vocals or instruments, I'd normally use Logic for that. It just has better latency for recording audio.
It's not right what you do. It's not right what you do.
In terms of synths and kind of equipment that I'd be using for generating sound, I'd be a big fan of Serum for wavetable synthesis, and Diva for more analog kind of sounds. And for creative elements, our Omnisphere is untouchable. It's just such a huge palette of different types of sounds and varieties. So even with those 3 synths, you can do a huge amount of stuff. And for drum samples, I like to sample like more Foley-based stuff. So I like to, if I need a clap sound, instead of taking a clap sample, I'll record a clap. Or if I'm looking for a shaker, I'd prefer to go into the booth and get a real shaker sound and capture the room. The main role as a producer for me is to be able to tell the story between the artist and the song. You know, to be the bridge, the gap between those two things, and it's to have a vision that maybe the artist can't see, and to help them choose a bigger palette of sounds and a selection of elements that tell the story. What motivates me to keep doing what I do is just the passion, the love for it. I couldn't think of anything else to do. I always think to myself, if I lost my hearing, I mean, it would be tragic, and it's a horrible thing to think about, but I'd always work in something creative. I have to create to make things. I think it's like human nature. It's our main kind of objective in life is to make things. You know, that's what we do best. So that's why I keep doing it.
I'm feeling kind of broken and insecure. I'm on my knees, rocking back and forth.
The tip I would give to people starting or getting into the music industry is be patient with yourself, take your time, get good at your craft. Don't be too hard on yourself. Be ready for failure, lots, you know, because that's part of it. Be happy to be a failure, you know, that's really important. And collaborate with as many people as possible. Never feel you can do everything by yourself. Collaboration is key, and it makes it more fulfilling and rewarding to work with others. And help as many people as possible. Yeah, this is really important. Another tip I would give would be to learn as much theory as possible. You know, try to learn an instrument if you can. That's something I never did. It kind of put a bit of it slowed down my process a lot. I'd say if you are going for piano lessons, stick to it. You know, try really put in a bit of time. one thing I'd like to say about the kind of music scene and where we are now with Diffusion Lab is that we actually become very lucky, and we've managed to fit into a time that the Irish music scene is evolving and taking on such a great new shape. I would say if anybody's watching from around the world is to take time and listen to Irish music. There's some extreme talent here. It's really, really good. It's really inspiring, and it's kind of a really nice hybrid of European sound and American influence as well. And yeah, if you know, Ireland's going to blow up, and it is blowing up at the moment. So take a minute, check it out, and yeah, keep loving music.